Hi, and welcome to Meetings in Math. Today we're here for section 5.3, Solving Systems of Linear Equations by Elimination. Today it's your turn to write an essential question. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to write one. Our lesson goal is to solve a system of linear equations by first eliminating a variable from a pair of linear equations, and this is called the elimination method. Today you will need your Jaguar dots on section 5.3, which is solving systems of linear equations by elimination, a pen or a pencil. A highlighter is probably going to be a little bit helpful today. A calculator will keep our equations moving quickly and efficiently. You will definitely need some problem solving skills, your perseverance, and of course bring your determination. So let's begin by looking at example number 1. We're going to solve the system using elimination. And remember, we're always trying to keep our equations in balance. And so we have these two equations, 3x minus y equals 14 and negative 3x plus 4y equals 16. And so we're thinking of them by keeping them in balance. And so we're going to put one on one side and one on the other, and we're going to balance them. So when we look at these, we're going to stack them one on top of the other. 3x minus y equals 14 and negative 3x plus 4y equals 16. What we're going to do is we're going to look for additive inverses or for opposites. And we're going to think about how we used to add and subtract when we stacked numbers one on top of the other and what gives us zeros. So let's look at our y's and let's look at our x's. And is there anything there if we added them together it goes to 0? So negative y plus 4y, that's not 0. But 3x minus 3x, that is 0. And so that's where we are going to start. So just put a line underneath to remind yourself you're adding these. So 3x minus 3x is 0. And so we're going to just go ahead and put a line through it. Don't scratch it completely out because that is going to make it so you can't read it and do the things we need to do later. So those there, that's 0. So what we did was we eliminated those, which is what we're trying to do this whole entire time. So now what we want to do is we want to look at this right here, and we're going to combine like terms. So negative y plus 4y. So this is why it's so important that we're good at combining like terms. Now remember, that is a negative 1y, so negative 1 plus 4 is a 3y. Drop that equal sign down, and then 14 and 16 is a 30. And now we want to do that masking that we've been talking about in class. Remember, masking is when you just take that part that you don't need anymore and you cover it up. So you're just going to take this right here and you're going to cover it up because we don't need it anymore. So with your hand or a piece of paper, cover it up. And now we're going to do 3y equals 30. That's just a one-step equation. So how do we undo 3 times y? We undo the multiplication with division. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. And now we know that y is equal to 10. So that is the first part of our answer. What we're looking for, remember, when we're solving systems of equation, is that point where they're both the same. So we have the first part of our ordered pair. So the best thing that I would always say when we're trying to answer these questions is to make that ordered pair. So blank, comma, blank, and we know that it always goes x, y, if you need to give yourself that little reminder. And so we know that y is equal to 10, so we're going to plop that into place right now. So now that we know that y is equal to 10, we can go find x just like we have been with all of the others. We're going to substitute in our y into either one of those. It doesn't matter which one, we just pick which one we like better. I like the first one because it doesn't have the negative 3x, but it really doesn't matter. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure it's very clear which one we're using. So we're going to go ahead and use the first one, and we're going to clearly identify that we're going to say that y is equal to 10. And we're going to put that into that first equation, 3x minus y is equal to 14. And now we substitute in 10 every time we see y. So 3x minus 10 is equal to 14. And then we solve it just like we've been solving every two-step equation that we've had. We can use DC MAD, we can use inverse operations, just whatever it is that we've been using to help us do solving equations is what we want to do. It's okay if we still have to write DC MAD. It's okay if we have to write those SAD MAD down the side. Whatever it is, we want to make sure we do it. So the opposite of subtracting 10 is adding 10. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides. So negative 10 plus 10 is 0. So I'm left with 3x is equal to 24. And the opposite of multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. So x is equal to 8. So now I know what x is equal to, but I'm not done until I actually put it into the ordered pair. So x is equal to 8. So my actual answer is 8/10. Remember, the system solution is the ordered pair. So now if we look at this second one, 2x minus y is equal to 9 and 4x plus y is equal to 21. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to identify, are you going to get rid of the x? Are you going to eliminate the x? Or are you going to eliminate the y? Which one do you think you're going to eliminate? Go ahead, take a second, figure that out, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So which one did you figure out? Did you think the x or the y? I like the y because you have a negative y and a positive y right there, which makes it easy to deal with right off the bat. So we are going to pick that y to deal with. When I look at it, negative y plus y is 0, so that's why I picked it. So now we're just going to combine like terms. That's basically what elimination is. It's combining those like terms and making things happen. So 2x plus 4x is a 6x, and negative y plus y is a 0. That's that elimination showing up. And then 9 and 21 is 30. Don't forget that equal sign. It's really important. Don't forget it. And now we just solve this one-step equation. I'm going to divide both sides by 6. And x is equal to 5. So did you remember that our answer has to be an ordered pair? So the very first part of this ordered pair is 5. So what do we do with that? I want you to pause for 1 second, and I want you to write down what is it that we're going to do with that 5. That's right. We're going to take that x equals 5 and we're going to substitute it into either one of these equations. The only thing that separates elimination from substitution is the very first step. Elimination gets rid of it in a different way. We're always going to then substitute into an equation. So we're going to now take x equals 5 and substitute it into one of those two equations. And it doesn't matter which one. You just have to pick which one you like best. I like the second one best because y is positive. If you picked a different one, that's okay. It doesn't matter. It just is which one you think is going to work best for you. So 4x plus y equals 21. Some people might have picked the first one because it has smaller numbers, and that's okay too. So 4 times 5, so we're going to substitute x in with 5 this time, plus y is equal to 21. And now we just solve this. So 4 times 5 is 20, plus y equals 21. I'm going to subtract 20 off of both sides, and I get y equals 1. And so don't forget, where does that have to go? That has to go up into that ordered pair. Don't forget about the ordered pair. That's the most important part. If we don't get it up into the ordered pair, then we didn't finish, and then we, bummer, have the incorrect answer. So 6-1 is our answer. Whoops, I mean 5-1. I wrote the wrong thing down. 5-1 is our answer. Always double check your answers. Look at that, make sure x went to x and y went to y. And what I did, the reason I caught it was I double checked and I was looking right here, x is 5, y is 1, and I double checked and I made sure I'd put the right thing into the ordered pair. Always double check your answer. X was 5 and y was 1. So the ordered pair, 5-1. So here's our last one. We have 3x plus 4y equals -6 and 7x plus 4y equals -14. And we're so close. But we don't quite have opposites here. We almost have opposites, but not quite. Tell me which variable, x or y, is almost to having an opposite. Go ahead and do that, and then come on back. If you picked y, you're correct. Y has the 4y and the 4y. If one of them was negative, we would have an opposite. But we have a kind of a trick up our sleeve that we know we can change the signs on the entire equation just by multiplying both sides by -1. And so we can go ahead and do that, and easy peasy have our opposite. So now we just have to decide, do we want to make that the first equation or the second equation? I'm personally going to pick the first equation. That keeps my x's positive, and that makes my life a little bit easier. Hint, we don't have to do it that way. We can do other things, but that's how I want to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this to make it easier to work with. So for this one, I definitely want to pick a different color to make sure it stands out a little bit and go from there. So I'm going to pick red to make sure it really pops. And what I want to do is I'm going to multiply this by -1 and multiply this by -1 because I had to multiply both sides to make sure it stays the same. That's a whole big rule, right? And multiplying and working with equations. So -1 times 3x would be a -3x, and -1 times a 4y would be a -4y, equals, don't forget that equal sign in between, and -6 times -1 would be a +6. Now, the second one, I'm not changing anything. I'm just rewriting it. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it in the black color to make sure I know I didn't change anything. And it's 7x plus 4y equals -14. And so now I can see I have those opposites for those y's. So let's go ahead now and do combining those like terms. They call it, if you read it in the textbook, they're going to call it adding or subtracting. It's just really combining like terms. That's how I like to think about it, to keep it simple for myself. So I have a -3x and a 7x. So I know when I combine those like terms that I get a 4x. And I know when I combine the like terms, -4y and a +4y, that's where that 0 comes in. That's where that elimination happened, just like I wanted it to. And now when I go 6 minus 14, okay, that's 14 minus 6 is 8, but I have more negatives than positives, so it's a -8. Now 4x equals -8. I can divide both sides by 4, so x is equal to -2. That's great news. We like that. So let's go ahead and set up that ordered pair for us so we can just pop things in where they belong. So I have a -2. I'll make sure I write it down right this time. And now what do I need to do? Now I need to do some substitution. Because I don't want a whole lot of arrows getting in my way, I'm just going to go like this. So that x equals -2, we're going to pop it into one of those two originals. So I can either use that 3x plus 4y equals -6 or the 7x plus 4y equals -14. It doesn't matter which one. I like smaller numbers. So I'm going to use the first one. So let's go ahead and put that into 3x plus 4y equals -6. So every time I see an x, what am I going to put in its place? I want you guys to pop over, put that in the answer. What am I going to put in place of the x? That's right. I'm going to put -2 in place of the x. So 3 times -2 plus 4y equals -6. Go ahead and finish solving this and then come on back. Okay, 3 times -2, that was a -6, plus 4y equals -6. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So 4y equals 0. So I'm going to divide by 4. This is all okay. That y is equal to 0. 0 is a number. That doesn't mean it went away. There's nothing there. It just means it's equal to 0. So my answer is -2, 0. So remember, what does that mean? That means that these two lines are going to cross at -2, 0. And that is the solution. So now you've gone over 3 different problems on how to solve systems of equations by elimination. Really, the only thing that makes this different than solving systems of equations by substitution is that very first step, and then you follow the same procedure. I'd really like you to sit down, explain how you get that one term to disappear or to eliminate to somebody, and be prepared to go over it in class. Thank you so much for joining us in this lesson. And remember, be kind to one another because we can all use some extra kindness in our lives. Bye for now.